Hi, happy Sunday. It's April 7th. Read 10 people who want to be read to. I have already started a book and about a month ago. I had to find some different software to help me do a faster upload on my lives. So anyway, hi. I hope that I can entertain you guys for a couple minutes. Also, something that I'm changing is the last time I read about right for in some minutes, maybe close to 2 hours. I think it's a little long for people uh, for me to hold people's attention. So I'm gonna read and give my videos just a little bit less time. And new to the channel, I start off by reading the intro, the preface, and everything that's outside of the meat of the book, which is, when I say meat of the book, I mean the chapters to the book, the actual book. So I think reading all those other parts of the book give you a little context. I do have to say I've been all over the place in the last month since I last posted. I've been listening and observing and participating in others' live feeds. So if you do have a live feed, please attach your live feed channel to my Facebook page or to my YouTube event so that I can connect with you. If you want to, in some way, collaborate, I'll be more than happy to collaborate with you. I'm all over the place. I have such great friends. And so on this channel, I am attempting to read to people and give opinions. So if you've read the book already that I'm reading, or if you want to read a book, or if you want to give your opinion or your theory or philosophy about the book that's going on, it's being read, I would appreciate it. So with that being said, like I said, post some links and let me know where you are. You're on Facebook Live, if you're on YouTube Live, wherever you are having a channel, I would be so happy to support you. And don't forget, I love comments. You can give me a comment, you can give me an opinion or whatever. Any type of feedback is welcome. I'm just here and relaxing on a Sunday and doing some reading. A book that I'm reading, this book is for the public. I have this bad routine ever since I started taking doctoral classes that I read multiple books at the same time, which before doctoral classes I never did. It was a big no-no. I only read one book at a time. And when I first started reading multiple books at the same time, I would get all confused in my head on uh, where I have incorporated myself into the books and which book. So because I've been doing it for so long now, I don't get confused. So this is why I just found the only book I'm reading. So this is the book that I'm reading publicly to everybody. So this book, just to kind of give you a little background, because we've taken so long I've taken so long. I took a huge break to read. The book is called American Freedom, and it's by Edmunds Morgan, if I can remember the author's name. Apologize if I got it wrong. But it's basically giving us a statistical analysis of the population and how they paid for taxes when America started. Who were the who was the hmm? Yes, yes. My fiance talking. He's listening to me too. Yeah, true that. So basically, we're going to go back to where we left off and try to read about 30 pages to get finished so that we can finally get into the chapter of the book, which is going to be so great. So he's setting us up with how he managed to get his data and how data became viable for him and where the holes were in the data. So everybody knows I love data. Data and other titles that I'll take. So anyway, it's pretty interesting. So we left off where he talked about the Black population. And again, we're talking about 1600s America. Okay? Very interesting. All right. In two counties, Northampton and Surrey, it is possible to ascertain the number of Black Tithibles for Surrey during the 17th century. In Northampton, for most years from 1664 to 1677, from 1674 to 1703. In Northampton, Black Tithibles, these are people who paid tithes, okay, increased from 62% in 1664 to 75% in 1677. Tithibles will increase from 438 to 469. Thus, in 1664, 14% of the Tithibles were Black, and in 1677, 16%, a gain of only 2% in 13 years. In Surrey, the figures began just before Virginia began converting to slave labor, and they reflect the change even in a poor South Side county. So, just a little opinion here. Throw in some opinion because this is reading with opinion. We're not just reading these books. We want to understand, we want to have some clarity. We like to put it into context. I like to throw my opinion in there. You can tell me in the comments, or you can email me, or you can tell me whenever if I'm wrong. I won't care. But anyway, I am working on my own Ancestry.com type of data of my family. And those of you who have already gone through lineage findings of data for your family, for yourself, understand how important this census was. And this is pre-census, okay? This is pre-census America being born. Please check out the last video that I made to catch up to where we are now. That video is about, I think it's about almost 2 hours long. So just give yourself some time and start and stop it or something like that. But you'll start to understand the context of where we are now because he is trying to put together the census of what happened at the birth of America. So let's go back to the reading. So in Surrey, which is an area, Black Tithibles rose from 40% in 1674 in 1674 to 67% in 1682 to 155% in 1699. While total Tithibles rose from 420 to 673. Thus, 9.5% of Surrey's Tithibles were Black in 1674, 5%, 13.6% in 1682, and 22.7% in 1699. From the Black Tithibles figures for Northampton and Surrey, we may make some rough estimates of the Black population of Virginia in 1674, 1682, and 1699, the years for which we have Tithibles in the figure. Because of deficiencies in the colony records explained in connection with Table 1, we will add to the total Tithibles figure 6% for 1674 and 1699 and 12% for 1682. The total Tithibles of the colony as 14,196 in 1670, 16,981 in 1682, and 22,902 in 1699. In 1674, Northampton had 479 Tithibles, of whom 72% were Black. If the rest of the colony had the total number of black Tithibables in Virginia would have been about 2,130 in 1674. I would like to stop right now, just in case I have people who a month ago didn't listen to me read the beginning of this book with all this under your bonuses, or the years are the Tithibables are the taxes that America had to pay to England. This is before the census, you guys. Yeah. And they had to keep up with how many people were in the colony because they had to collect taxes. They're Tithibables. And they had a certain amount depending on who you are. You were So, let's go back. Let's go back to the last sentence. If the rest of the colony had the same proportion, the total number of black Tithibables in Virginia would have been about 2,130 in 1674. That's the making of us African Americans here in America. Or slaves. I don't know which one you want to call it. There's all type of lineage acronyms going on now. Whichever one you want to grab a hold to, I respect. Okay, so if we extrapolate from the Surrey returns for the same year, we get a figure for the colony as a whole of about 1,350 black Tithibables. An estimate of how many black untithibables there may have been may be even more tentative. In 1674, the only untithibable blacks were those under 16 who had been born in Virginia. But how many of these there were in the whole colony depended on the size and sex ratio of the black population in each county. Surrey, which was one of the counties, with only 40 black Tithibables in 1674 and fewer women than men, may not have had many native-born black children. Northampton, which in 1664 already had 62 black Tithibables and an almost even sex ratio, may have acquired a greater number of native-born black in 1674, but if so, they had apparently not yet reached the age of 16, since there was no rise in Northampton's black Tithibables as a result of the Act of 1672, which made native-born black females Tithibal at that age. Northampton's adult sex ratio for blacks continued to be about even during the years for which records survive: 28 male, 29 female, and 5 unknown in 1664. 31 male, 28 female, and 13 unknown in 1674. 36 male, 38 female, and 1 unknown in 1677. Surrey's black remained even throughout the century. So we're gonna just pause just for one quick second because there's a lot of different words thrown out here, and I just wanna give a shout out to my other YouTube channel, which talks about data. It's all data oriented, and so if you don't know what I'm talking about, or seriously you want to learn more about ratios and how they're correlating the data, how he's trying to make compare apples to apples. He's trying to guesstimate where there's no data. He's trying to use intelligence and a type of synchronized, intelligent manner of guessing where the holes are in the data. And so you can go to my Keke Plee channel on YouTube. That's KEKEPLEE on YouTube. And I am talking about data there. And I'm usually trying to debate. There's been lately no one to debate with. So if you want to debate, if you want to have conversation about something and it's oriented around data, I would appreciate that. I will be taking apart the Mueller report. As soon as the whole thing's published, I would love to dive into that. And the YouTube channel that you're listening do now is reading and within YouTube. So if you like to subscribe or follow or like or anything, just feel free to. I'm so happy. I would be happy to see my friends among there, but I tell you, I have made so many friends in YouTube. So I welcome my old friends, the new friends, I welcome especially. Okay, so back to all this data talk. So again, if you want some data referencing and what they're all talking about, you can go to my data YouTube channel. Okay, so he goes back to talk about how many male and female, and then there's 12 unknown in 1674. So those of you who have done your ancestry, did you get to 1674? I know in my family we keep teasing how far high or how far back in the years each of us. So 1674, that's a challenge, okay? 36 males, 28 females, and 3 unknown. There's somebody's family in America. That's who they are. Okay, so 104 males, 47 females, and 4 unknown in 99. Since we do not have data to establish a ratio between tithables and untithable blacks, that Virginia's black untithables in 1674 amounted to 15% of the colony's black population, which seems a number. He has a footnote number 46. If you actually have the book, you can follow along. Then, if the proportion of blacks in the colony as a whole was the same as their proportion in Northampton, the total black population of Virginia in 1670 have been about 2,510 people. Or, if we extrapolate from Surrey figures, the total black population could have been 1,550 people. If we extrapolate in the same way from Surrey figures for 1682, the total black population in have been about 2,650. It seems probable, however, that the percentage of black untithables in the colony had risen as a result of the law of 1680, which defined black untithables as imported children under 12. Virginia under 16 black children. I gotta drink something. Okay. I had to figure out where I was. Okay. My breath was taken away from reading. Okay. So, here we are. Virginia-born black children presumably remained untithable also. But we don't know. They made the law under 12. And so from 12 to 16, we don't know if they were tithable or not tithable. If, as seems likely, the new law reflected an increase of children, perhaps to 20%. The total black population in 1682 would have been about 2,760 people. Some of those people, where's my camera, are your family members. Okay. Similar extrapolate. Some words I just have a hard time saying. Okay, similar extrapolation. Never be ashamed of not knowing how to pronounce the word. That's what I'm just going to say. We're just going to keep trying until we get it right. Extrapolation from 1689 gives us a total black population of about 5,975 if we use 15% as the proportion of untithables in the black population. and about 6,240 if we use 20%. Because of the December and its sex ratio between Black Tithibles of Surrey and Northampton, and because the composition of the population varied so widely from county and Virginia, it may well be that the figures derived from Northampton and Surrey are unrepresentative. And since the overall ratio of total population to Antithybles was about the same in Virginia as in Maryland, it may be that the overall percentage of blacks in the population was about the same. In that case, we might more safely extrapolate from Maryland figures for Northampton from Dublin and Surrey. If blacks constituted 15.5% of Virginia's population in 1704, as slaves did in Maryland, then Virginia, with a total population of about 75,600 people, would have had a black population of about 11,718 in 1704. We may subtract from this figure a recorded number of 1,892 slaves imported from June 1699. I mean, just not have chosen this book from the library to read. I mean, all this data, I know some of y'all would have been afraid to read a book like this, but I'm reading it to you, okay? So appreciate, respect, okay? Because you need to know this stuff. I don't care what race you are, you need to know this stuff, okay? That's how America was born. So he already went through his states on his charts and everything, and so now he's going through how and the reason why he even made this book. He's backing it up with all the statistical data and analysis based off on pre-census population numbers, and he's basing it off the typables of what was paid to England. All right. Through June 1704, at a black population of 9,826, or roughly 10,000 people in June 1704. Y'all family, our family, my family too. However obtained, these estimates for 1699 are considerably below the figure, which is 16,390. Given in the historical statistics for the year 1700, but closer to the estimate of 6,000 offered by Bruce and the somewhat larger but not greatly in excess of 6,000 obtained by Craven. So his reference Craven is, and so what he did, which is super important to do, I'm always talking about this with data, you can't just use your data. You have to benchmark it to other data. And when you benchmark it, it has to be apples to apples. And so basically what he's saying, he came up with his numbers compared to the historical statistics of the United States, which is also then compared to what Bruce came up with his own. Bruce Craven came up with his own statistical analysis of the population. So he's comparing his data to two other things, because when you're backtracking, you can't say what's absolutely right. You can only say what is all right. Comparability to what other people have said is almost all right. Anybody trying to tell you that's absolutely true in the past, after people have died, after centuries and generations are gone, is telling you a lie. Because, as you know, when people die, all the nice things come out. And then also, things get skewed. And generations of verbal communication, things get skewed. Even writing with ink pens or pencils, water can damage it. So you just got to analysis to other data with a very precise and thought out process of how you came up with your data. All are conjectural, he said, which is basically what I just said, you know? Okay. Conjectural. It's a good word. Perhaps the safest conclusion to draw from the few statistics that survive from the 17th century would be that the black population of Virginia in 1874 was not less than 1,000 and not much more than 3,000. By the end of the century, the number was not much less than 6,000 and not much more than 10,000, but about to expand rapidly. All right. I mean, this is the late 1600s. Yeah. Get your Ancestry.com family challenge. Okay. All right. So I think we're going to stop here and we're going to do some more reading either a little later or on another day. And we're going to talk about Northampton County. Let's see here. I'm just going forward. He goes over some tables. Anyway, guys stating that this is boring. It's not. It's super exciting. This is super important. Super, super important. Okay, yeah, it goes through a lot of his references. It starts to go through his data and his references. And I'm going to read up to where we are in referencing. It's no sense to read the references, even though read through them on your own to see where he got his information from and give you an idea of what maybe some books to read next. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed today's reading. I am definitely going to be reading some more. I am using a new platform to post my videos. I'm super excited about that. It took me about 1 month. So a lot of my branding completed. And it took me about a month to find this new platform software to use so that it makes it easier for me. And so I hope you appreciate it. I'm going to go live some more. I truly believe in what I'm doing, which is reading important, super important books. You know, I've gotten into a lot of debates, had a lot of conversations, and they don't read. They don't read word for word every word in the book. They assume just because a book is popular, they know what the book is about. They are coming up with opinions and not facts, or guesstimated facts based on intelligence and referencing. And so I'm just doing this as a way to read to people. You know, sometimes I listen to a lot of YouTube videos, and so it's good to sometimes listen to things. So I am going to try to read and give an opinion. So one of the reasons why I chose this book, because of my research and the information that this book talks about is basically the beginning of my citizenship in America and my family's. And I think it's super important to have pride and to know how and where and what, and get from the people who wrote the books, which are probably very few out of the population, but get from people who had an understanding of what exactly was going on and how things were being done. And so if you go back to the YouTube channel, Reading with Opinion, on YouTube that I'm reading my YouTube now channel, and you subscribe, I actually read the very first beginning of the book, the preface and his introduction, And he talks about why he felt like it was so important to read this book and how this book was part of his doctoral journey and how he had a lot of digging through data and then how there were problems with some of the data and how the census did this and he found didn't do that. And I'm sure some of you guys who have already gone through Ancestry.com to figure out your family could understand his frustrations with data. You know, you pull up the census, it says your family member's going to be there. You pull it up and it says, you know, something earning one is there. And you're like, that's not my family. Or is it? But you have to verify just a little bit. So I'm just super comfortable. So I hope that you guys, I know I've been moving this camera around. I'm just super comfortable. It's a Sunday afternoon and I am just enjoying the day. It's beautiful here. And so I'm in my bunker. My secret bunker. Hi, honey. All right, I'm going to let you guys go. Short video. That's my goal. All right, bye.